Hey guys, welcome back to the Hear Me Roar pod. I am Toby and my co-host is none other than the Kate Save, which you might know her from Shark Tank. She's also founder of BeFit Foods and picked up Telstra's Business of the Year award too. Kate?
Well, Toby, you've got a super impressive CV, 25 years in global commercialisation experience, and you founded Creative Cubes, Australia's leading co-working space and real estate business.
All right, let's get on with the pod. Kate, another amazing episode coming up. Solbevi, Stefan.
Yeah.
Solbevi.
And 18 months in, right in the juicy part of growing the business. Many questions.
I'm hearing some good things. So I got introduced to Stefan via email maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago from Vinny Tran. Vinny and I work together. Vinny works at Cush Wakefield. They're a commercial real estate firm, a global commercial real estate firm. And we do a lot of stuff together, Vinny and I. Some of this, he didn't help me with South Melbourne, but he would be the type of person that would engage us if he was representing the landlord here at South Melbourne.
Got it.
And Vinny and I, away from the game, have become mates. He just had his first kid and he's like, mate, I've been listening to your pod. I've been watching all your vlogs. I want to get my friend Stefan onto this to get some exposure for his business.
Awesome.
So coming up, we're doing Vinny a solid, hopefully learn a lot from Stefan, but we're going to learn about Solbevi.
Amazing. Bring it on.
Guys, you've seen me put out content for years. It all started with James Shadrach from Purpose Productions. We've filmed over 800 vlogs, several hundred different pieces of content that has helped me take my business to the next level. We use Purpose Productions for all the content, pods, vlogs, and storytelling that we produce. Check out purposeproductions.co to learn how James and his amazing team can help you scale your business and get your message out there. All right, Kate, the man is here. Stefan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, both of you.
It's nice and warm outside. Is that why you got the shorts on?
No, it does go well because it's branded limoncello shorts, but it's a thing that I do. I go to every sort of venue or meeting or podcast for that matter in my branded limoncello shorts and my Solbevi tee just to really rep the brand.
Good for you, man. Yeah. And so this is a business that you started?
Yep.
Yeah, 18 months ago, Kate said in the intro?
18 months ago, yeah. It's been a quick and wild 18 months, that's for sure.
Right.
Not what I was expecting.
Okay. So talk to me about like taking the leap and then, what does it look like today? Like in 18 months, what do you have on reflection? What have you accomplished?
Taking the leap was, I actually wasn't that scared, to be honest. I don't know why. I think I had a very good income for the 8-9 years prior. Always worked quite hard, did pretty well for myself, but I wasn't really
doing what?
Construction.
Cool.
So completely different.
Yeah.
So I always knew that if it didn't work, but I would never let that happen. But if it did not work, I would just go back to construction and get a good paying job. And you know what? I'll make it back. I'm young. So I wasn't too scared about the leap. I launched it in August 2023. And since then, what have we accomplished? We've got Dan Murphy's, Vintage Cellars, BWS, on select Qantas flights around the world.
Oh.
We just launched, actually Monday is our official launch day in New Zealand, but we've already secured over 300 stores over there. In the first 3 days of pre-orders, we sold 30,000 cans and sold out and had to do another production run, which is pretty cool. So
you've got ready to drink and then the spirit.
So we've got the limoncello spritz ready to drink cans, which is the world's first. And that's kind of where the idea came. No one had ever done it before.
Yeah.
My family live in Italy, or a lot of them do. And it was saying that we would always drink, but no one had ever done it in like a pre-packaged, ready to go format. And we sort of looked at the little Aperol bottles as a bit of inspo, I suppose. Yeah, exactly. But the can's just easier, more convenient. So that was that, and then there was the liqueur, which we've been making our whole lives. And
so how are you selling this? So when I moved to America, we had two-step distribution.
Yep.
We would sell to a distributor who would then sell to the outlet.
Yep.
And if the outlet was big enough, i.e. Maltese chain, we would sell direct to them at the same price that a distributor would, but it would just be a greater margin for us versus creating that. How are you distributing your products?
It's a bit different to the US because I was over there. I've got a cool story for that as well. And you've got a 3-tier model in alcohol over there. But here it's sort of like Dan Murphy's major retail, we just sold direct to. and they obviously take a decent whack, but it sort of balances out when you sell wholesale to bars, on-premise venues, independent bottle shops.
Yep.
Sort of balances out. So we go, that's just an extra step. It kind of annoys me, the model, because we have to go out and do the work, visit every store, visit every venue, sell in, pay for reps.
Yep.
Yeah, then the customer buys from the wholesaler.
It's
kind of like, they're just a 3PL. It's like, we've already got one of those. I don't need another one.
He who does the least amount of work makes the most amount of money.
Yeah, literally. They're just a big warehouse that holds stock, and they've got reps that can now represent you, which I've now learned, but that took me 15 months to learn.
So you're selling through distributors to retailers?
Not distributors. They're call them wholesalers. So you sell into them. They hold the stock. We've got a big event this weekend, which I'm sure you can probably work out what is it in Melbourne.
Yep.
So we sell it to them, then the customer buys it from them.
Yep.
But we have to do the deal with the customer.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's just an extra step in the chain, which is really frustrating.
Yep. And is that standard across your industry?
Yeah. And there's distributors as well who take bigger margins, but then they represent you and they sort of back you and do that sort of stuff.
At Creative Cubes, we have Proof & Co. They're a huge alcoholic distributor and rep.
Interesting.
We also have the Fireball crew.
Oh, nice.
We have Moet Hennessy. I'm not an alcohol guy. In fact, it sounds like I've been fasting all month, Kate. But I haven't eaten since Sunday. So please stay away from the product because my mouth might start to
That's impressive.
He's on a water fast.
It's a water fast.
But they're challenging.
Yeah, it's 72 hours, maybe a little bit more. But we see a lot across our spaces. And we serve a lot across our spaces. So it'd be great to potentially do a pop-up
Love to.
with you guys across some of our spaces. I'll get Sim engaged to promote it to our members.
For sure.
And so it sounds to me like you just chuck away line there, sold 30,000 cans. That feels like a big number to me.
It is. It's not what we do here, obviously, but we've been here for 18 months. But it is. It's pretty cool. It's actually quite surreal. When I was there 2 weeks ago, we were doing the first batch and I was signing it off and I walked into a few stores and you can see.
Where do you manufacture?
In Australia.
Yeah.
But for New Zealand, we're going to manufacture over there. Multiple reasons. To be honest, cost is one thing, but that wasn't the major sort of motivator. It's more when you make it in the local country or wherever it might be, it just appeals a lot more to the customer base and then they grab a hold of it better. So
and taxes different, alcohol taxes?
So I'll give you some perspective. That 4-pack that I brought in is $24 on the shelf across the road here at Dan Murphy's. A 10-pack over there, so we do 10 packs, is 30 New Zealand dollars. So I don't know, like 28 Aussie. On special, it comes down to 24 Aussie.
Wow.
Just purely because of tax.
Wow.
Excise tax.
Oh, man, don't get me started on government taxes and all that sort of stuff.
We could probably talk about it for a while.
I just think that it's so unnecessary. And what's happening over in the US right now is proof that you don't need to tax the citizen through the eyeballs
100%.
to actually move the economy forward.
100%.
But maybe that's a segment for another day.
Yeah.
How many people in your team? Have you employed people?
So actually, it's a bit of a scary time. It's scary but extremely exciting because I've always contracted people instead, and that's purely just for context. I don't pay myself. I haven't to date, and until I'm comfortable to pay myself, because obviously I'm pushing growth as hard as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I won't engage someone until I pay myself. Just it's that level of comfort that I can give up my wage that month to pay them if anything was to happen. But the team, we've got about sort of 6 full time. We've got a whole range of reps, but we just put our first offer out last week for a pretty amazing individual. It's worth taking the punt on this one. There's a big risk, but I think it's so worth it. And part of the deal was that we pay myself at the same time. So now we've just got to find the money and make it work.
Yeah.
But it should lead to some pretty
Are you
amazing
bootstrapped?
things. Yeah.
Are you looking for external investment?
Big time.
Yeah?
Just because we've grown so quick, and I like to put in perspective, we just sold 30,000 cans. We did another production run for here. We're doing bottles this week as well. So we're dropping $100,000. We've got our sponsorship fee for the F1. We've got all happening at the same time. We're spending 150 grand in a month, which is money that we just have to have sitting there for things like this.
Yeah.
And then you got to sell all your stock. So
yeah,
it's to fund the growth, working capital, and the international expansion. We've got Southeast Asia that have been knocking on our door for a while. We've got the US, which is a separate thing, but you just need money. It's very competitive. Big brands out there with a lot of money that can spend it all on marketing because you need to stay relevant.
My friend over here knows a few things about distribution in the F&B space. Maybe not F, not B. You're not in beverage, are you?
No, but my cousin is.
Okay.
So one of the biggest wine importers, does all of Dan Murphy's, all of that. I'm not sure about spirits. I've never asked. But
Hey, I only
potentially.
charged
So
like a
there you go.
3% carry for this introduction. And if you sign today, no, I'm just kidding. So, I mean, some of your wisdom,
Yeah,
Miss
absolutely. And when you're in the States, I have an incredible contact over there who does all the pop-ups for the most beautiful exclusive brands with those really cool umbrella fridgy stations, you know, like the Aperol type stuff. Yeah. It's a Melbourne guy that I actually went to school with. Well, he went to the high school.
Is this business and pleasure?
Is it?
Business and pleasure?
No.
It sounds very much like them
his
Aussie
name's
guys.
Tom. He's a twin, and the stuff they're doing in the States will blow your mind. Their stuff is spectacular, great brands, but the activations they do there, second to none. So,
and without putting you on the spot, because you're my co-host here today on the pod, but like, is there a massive like intersection that Stefan's about to hit, given he's 18 months old in the in fast moving consumable goods space that you're kind of in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any advice?
So the advice that I was given that I didn't take, so can't pass it on knowingly.
But do you regret not taking it?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Good advice.
Lean in. Let's go.
Yeah, we need this.
It is all about cash flow, and you hear cash is king and everything else. And e-commerce business scaled 1,500% overnight, went from a team of 5 staff to 63 staff in 4 weeks.
Wow.
So we just blew everything and always had money in the bank until we didn't one day. That is literally because of the marketing. And the marketing scales things up. It gets you that momentum. But then we obviously, COVID, massive downer for everyone. But there are other things. Obviously right now we've got this cost crisis, and we also had the retail economy crash at the end of 2019. So there's always something that's going to pinch you where you don't think you're going to be pinched. And the biggest learnings also would be in digital marketing and Facebook and the Google crack, and getting addicted to these things and relying on them. And then when they're taken away, so we've lost our Google account once, we've lost our Facebook account entirely. It's come back again. Well, actually, no, we had to start another one. Just actually realizing when you're in business that you can't control everything. And they crack down on your advertising on your Google and Facebook. Then all of a sudden you see your competitors doing what you wanted to do, yet you got banned for it. So there's no, I don't know, there's a tough roller coaster for about 3 years.
So one of the comments that I draw out from a story of mine was I owed $1 million to the manufacturing plant at one time, and I had like 15 grand in the bank, but I had like $2 million in AR, accounts receivable. And so I then started to dance to be able to sort of reel in that AR as quickly as possible. And I gave different distributors different terms to enable cash flow, to Kate's point, right? So I'd give early pay discounts of 3 to 5% to select people that would give me that, flush me with that $1 million pretty quickly. And then had people out on longer terms, but were paying a little bit more. And so just kind of ebbing and flowing on the price points and the early discounts and the volumes and the pallet loads versus the container loads. And I draw on that because I remember walking into my apartment in Brentwood, California, or Los Angeles, California, in a suburb called Brentwood. And Sim goes, "What's wrong?" And I said, "We've got no money." And she's like, "What?" And I said, "And I got $1 million due at the end of the week." And she's like, "No, but we've got money. Like, there's money." I was like, "There's no money. I got no money." And this is just trials and tribulations of entrepreneurship and running a small business. Now, fortunately for me, I had it in accounts receivable. And fortunately for me, the accounts receivable blew out so much because my product was selling through, but it was selling through before they had to pay me.
Yeah, the terms.
So I wish I could say I haven't experienced this, but I have twice. We've run out of money twice and managed to save it. we're not running out of money now, but we're getting close with all these big bills. When our accounts receivable, we're owed a lot of money for me anyway.
Sure.
And it's that balance, like, what do we do? We need to find something we need to pull a lever here to help us get through it, because it's there, it's owed to us.
Yeah.
We're just got to find that, because cash flows.
Yeah. So the other thing I was told was always raise money when you don't need money.
Yes.
So raise money when you don't need it. And the thing that I would put it in now is literally in stock, because you can always,
100%.
Make that liquid, but put it in stock, because if you're just paying your way as you grow, you'll never be able to keep up with the payment terms being shorter on the one side and longer on the other side. So if you can't,
and there's two other things that I applied. So 100%, Kate, you're 100% on the money there. The other thing is that I would have 3 bank accounts.
Interesting.
Yeah, as a business. Now, this is probably good advice or bad advice.
Okay.
Do your own research.
Yeah.
This is definitely not financial advice, but this is how I worked it out.
Yep.
I would have my money coming in one side. Mm-hmm. I would immediately take my taxes and dump it into another account.
Yeah, we did that too.
Yep. And so when it's time to pay BAS or whatever, the money's just sitting there versus, oh shit, it's in cash flow, or oh shit, it's in AR and not in my bank. So I would just pull that out straight away. And then what I would do as well is I'd take a little bit of money, not a lot, but a little bit of money and put it in a third account. And if I didn't have to touch that third account for 3 months, that money was mine.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
So kind of like your pool of, what's the word? Like your emergency cash, I suppose.
But if I needed to use it, I'd draw it back up and just say, okay, it's sitting there. Yeah. I got it. And then over a period of time, I was not only able to pay myself from cash flow, but I was able to pay myself a dividend from the cash that wasn't being sucked up. Smart. If you leave it in, it gets sucked. Gets used. Yeah, I was sitting there, let's just get a 10 to the F1 or let's go do this or whatever. Yeah. And then from a personal standpoint, even today, I receive my income on the 15th of the month. Our whole company gets paid. Yeah. I get my pay. I pay myself first, not from the company. It doesn't work like that. The finance team do it all here. Yeah. But I pay when the money hits my account, I push X amount of dollars into my, well, Sim and I call it our extra account. Mm-hmm. And I try not to touch that. And not all of it, because all of it will get sucked up in kids and school fees and this and that, and going to watch Josh play basketball. But I push a few $1,000s into that extra account every month. Yeah. And, there's times where we dip back into it, but most of the time I try and hold on. And sometimes Sim will be like, hey, there's no money in the account. I'm like, it's 3 days. Can we get to the... Yeah. She's like, well, there's money sitting in extra. I don't want to draw it back up.
No, given it's 3 days.
Come on, let's just keep it. And so there's just little tricks.
No, this makes complete sense, and probably something that we do need to implement, because we go through. I mean, you see it. We keep the money and it gets sucked away straight away. Because it's like, oh, you know what? It's only $2,000. That adds up.
It does add up. We So to that point, we went on a holiday to Bali, and money came in, and I wanted to pay it all up front, because I didn't want to come due and I'm like, it got eaten with a school fee or excursion fee, or kid needed another school uniform because she's grown. So I try and get rid of the cash as quickly as possible into one of those 3 buckets from you, for your perspective, to just kind of steady the ship.
It makes sense. Otherwise it's just like, it's almost attractive to go and grab it because it's just there.
If it's there, it gets
and
spurned.
Chuck it into marketing. Like, we threw so much cash at the wall to see if any of it stuck. And I think the hardest thing was anything that you do in the PR space, radio, TV, all those sorts of things, anything other than digital marketing doesn't have a direct return on investment.
This is something that really frustrates me.
And it's so hard balancing that, because the only reason they saw you on digital is because they saw you somewhere else, but you can't measure it. So it's tough, because when you cut all of the things that you can't measure, well, your digital stops performing anyway. Yeah. So it's finding that balance, but working out what was it.
That's the hardest thing, that marketing piece, because for a business like ours, it's so important, because you walk into Dan Murphy's and there's 100 SKUs on the shelf, or you need to stand out somehow. But
are you participating, like, does Dan Murphy's have like a... so when I used to work with Petco PetSmart, very similar business, different vertical. There would be marketing co-op.
Yeah, there is. Bloody expensive.
Yeah.
But there is,
But then it's on them to push it through, right?
Because Liquid on Lips is the best form of marketing for us, and that's in store that we pay to do. But just the other stuff and like, it's allocating the money to the right marketing. Be like, oh, does this actually work? Are we getting a return on our investment here? It's a tough one, but liquid on lips is the best form. And that's why, sorry to cut you off. That's why I think the F1s is a good opportunity for us, because when I run the numbers, there's potential for, call it 7,000 people, because that's how many cans of stock there, to get in someone's hand and them trying it. Yeah. If I was to think how many sessions it takes me to do 7,000 people in Dan Murphy's across 6 months, whereas I'm doing it in 4 months, the cost is astronomical versus that. You can actually profit out of that.
And get it in the right hands as well.
And the right crowd,
when you're there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's two things that are going to happen from here. The first is I'm going to introduce you to Sim. We'll do some sort of Solbevi pop-up here at Cubes.
Amazing.
And get people on your lips.
Liquid on lips, yeah.
What's it called?
Liquid on lips.
Yeah, we'll get that happening. Maybe we'll do like a lunch and learn with some sort of pop-up.
Cocktail masterclass or something.
Yeah, we'll do, some of that stuff really goes down really well. The second thing is I'm going to go buy a case from Dan Murphy's. No, I will.
Generous,
legit. I have a fridge in my outdoor that I like to. Have you ever seen like MTV Cribs back in the day?
Yes.
And welcome to, I merchandise my outdoor fridge, because the indoor fridges, there's shit everywhere. Yeah. There's kid stuff, there's sim stuff, there's dog food, there's all types of stuff. Yeah. That outdoor fridge, I open it up as a bit of pride. I want to rock Solbevi in that fridge.
You. Really appreciate that.
So
that sort of stuff, that people don't realize how much of a difference that makes. People say, whether it's brand awareness, your friends walking past, but even the sales on the shelf, I mean, you guys know what it's like. You need to turn over stock to get relevant KPIs.
That's right.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah, we had a 0.75 unit. This is taking me back to 2010. 0.75 units needed to move off, which I don't know how that works out, per week per store.
Ours is 2.
Ours is 3.
Wow.
Ours is 2, 2 4-packs per store per week, and bottles is a bit higher.
Yeah, but I don't know how someone buys 0.75 off a shelf. But yes. Yeah. And so for that, and then if you don't hit those numbers, you become under review. Yeah. And then you're subject to a refund. Yeah, I've been there.
It's not fun.
$250,000.
People,
I've been there.
Wow. Yeah, people always ask, should I buy it from you direct? It's better margins for them. Like, I don't really care. Like, if it's a case, I'd rather you go to store, because those 6 4-packs is 3 stores ticked off the list.
Okay, we're going over the road after.
Do you know, I saw the coolest thing the other day, and I've got a feeling it works. I haven't put my money where my mouth is, but I met a couple that have got a new product called Liquefy, and it's a fibre-based health drink. Yep. And I swear I'd bought it and I'd tasted it and I'd seen it and I knew everything about it. I knew the quotes on it. I knew what it tastes like. And anyway, and I said, I bought it from the Mount Martha IGA. She goes, well, not stock there. And I'm like, oh, it must have been at Mornington, blah, blah, blah. No, not stock there. And I'm like, God, it must have been when I was in the city one day. No, not stock there. And anyway, you know where it was? Bloody back of a toilet door. There's a poster, and the poster was so good. The call out on it was something of the lines of enjoy your freedom, like for constipation, because it's like got seeds in it, a fibre drink. And the drink
time and place.
Got these floating seeds in it, right? So you can see the gel in the drink, and it was just such an odd thing to see there. And same
so you ordered?
Gone to the bathroom. Oh, absolutely. And I just thought, wow, back of a toilet door.
We have a similar thing here at Cubes. Yeah. Back of the toilet door. If you want anyone to come to any of our events, there's got to be a poster on the back of the door.
People, so good. What are they looking at the back of the door? Yeah. Makes complete sense. Yeah.
Guys, we're going to wrap it there. I mark my words. I promise you, with everything I've got.
Really appreciate it.
You stock here in South Melbourne?
Yeah.
All right. I promise you, I've got until 4 o'clock. I will go over the road and buy a case.
Appreciate that. It means a lot.
And we'll put it in the fridge. And hopefully, I've got Josh King and his kid and his wife coming over on the weekend. Josh just texted me, he wants to come for a swim.
It's going to be hot on the weekend.
So I'm going to open my fridge. Josh King, the head coach of the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, is coming over to swim my pool. We just had him on the pod last segment. Yeah. And so we'll get some Solbevis in his hands. Hopefully his wife doesn't crack the shits. But we might be able to sneak 1 or 2 in, and we'll go from there.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me as well.
Pleasure. All right.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon. We're going to go to a quick break, thanks to our guys at Luna, and then we'll be back.
Luna.co is a great place for you and your business to start off with phenomenal accounting and legal services. So if you're a startup or a scale-up looking for legal and finance support, or alternatively looking to raise capital, Luna.co is where you need to be starting off.
Did you have your feet in his shoes?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I did too.
Product business versus service business is so different. So my first business was service. You make money every hour. As long as you're good, you're full. When it's product, it's completely out of your control. You can create an incredible product, but the actual getting it into someone's hands, the way that it's intended, cold and all those sorts of things, is completely out of your control. So product is so much more, so many moving pieces, so much to consider. Inventory management, you need a bloody degree to get that right.
Yeah, you do.
And particularly if things are not subscription, how do you know when someone's going to purchase, how much stock to have? And, even changes in weather with beverages will really fluctuate sales, I guess. So incredible business model. Can't wait to try Solbevi.
Yeah. Well, I'm still fasting, so it mightn't be till Saturday because I've got to go to Adelaide tomorrow. But it speaks to me, the lemon side of things.
Limoncello.
Yeah, that speaks to. I don't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
So this might just be a one and done for me, but I want to support the guy. I think I was in his shoes 2 decades ago, 18 months in, still no income.
Yeah.
Business was going great. I had great distribution, but I wasn't paying myself. And so it probably won't be more than a case, but hopefully it makes an impact. And I love the underdog. And I hope that everyone listening to this pod right now is motivated to find their local Dan Murphy's if you're in Australia and go and buy some Solbevi.
Absolutely.
From them.
And his kit is cool. The shorts, limoncello.
Oh, he's all about the brand.
The t-shirt.
Absolutely. And there's no other way to do it.
Yeah.
You can't be half in.
The Grand Prix.
Yeah. All right. Guys, that's been another fantastic episode. Thank you, Kate.
Pleasure.
Speak to you on the next one.